the people home, I feel so safe tonight with all this police protection courtesy of G Unit.
Fat Joe is man. Pussy boy.
50 Cent just clapped back after breaking his silence. He's finally speaking on the wild claim that Fat Joe tried to have him killed. And now, Joe's being dragged into a serious RICO lawsuit that might actually prove it. This ain't just old school rap beef anymore. This is about a murder plot. The lawsuit also throws out dark accusations, saying Joe ran his crew like a full-on crime ring, and even hints at some disturbing personal behavior people online are calling PDF file level. And here's the craziest twist. The man exposing all of this is Joe's own hype man, who stood beside him for over a decade. So where does 50 Cent fit in? You already know. Back in the day, 50 and Joe had real beef. But now, this lawsuit claims Joe tried to take 50 out multiple times. The only thing that stopped it? 50's security team was way too tight, like Navy SEAL level locked in. But here's where things get messier. 50 finally responded to all this, and his story, kinda different. He's saying it wasn't even that deep. So now fans are scratching their heads like, why would he downplay something this serious unless there's more going on behind the scenes? Let's dive into this RICO case, 50's reaction, and how this could tie all the way back to that G Unit versus Terror Squad war. Because once you hear the names involved, the dates, and the wild accusations, it gets explosive.
What happened, Daddy?
It's Fat Joe's record. I listened to it. It hurt me. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't care about the money. I care about the money.
Some people online are even saying this might be worse than what Diddy's facing right now. So here's what the lawsuit says. Fat Joe's former hype man, Terrence "Taw" Dixon, is claiming that Joe didn't just want 50 quiet, he wanted him gone. Dixon says Joe ordered a hit during their peak beef, and it was supposed to look like a robbery gone wrong. The official lawsuit even states Fat Joe planned and attempted a premeditated murder of rapper Curtis 50 Cent Jackson sometime between winter 2006 and 2007. It says Joe, while living in Miami, got a call that 50 was spotted at a venue in New York and immediately ordered a hit. But here's what saved 50. He was rolling with elite-level bodyguards, and the alleged shooters backed off. The suit claims Joe literally told people to put a bag on 50's head, and was furious it didn't happen fast enough. Dixon isn't holding back in this lawsuit. He's saying Fat Joe straight up told his crew he'd been trying to get 50 Cent for a while. And when the hit didn't work out, Joe was apparently shaking and visibly stressed, showing he wasn't just talking tough. He was out here planning for real and coordinating with people to make it happen. According to Dixon, the plan involved tracking 50's every move using his tour schedule and trying to ambush him at different public spots. Once this lawsuit hit the internet and 50 finally broke his silence, people thought he'd go off the rails. But nope, 50 went a totally different route. He posted a message that low-key defended Joe and called the whole lawsuit a stick-up. He even posted a pic of himself with Fat Joe, soundtracked by Young Buck's "Prices on My Head." In the caption, 50 said, "These baseless accusations and claims are not credible. I'm sorry Joe has to endure the public scrutiny and damage to his reputation. This is a stick-up. I wrote this hook. I should have kept this one." Fans were left shocked. Some said they couldn't tell if 50 was trolling or actually backing Joe. One person online said, 50's playing chess. If he plays it this way, Joe will stay loyal because he knows it's true. Sincere? Now sure, anybody can say anything in court papers, but this ain't just some random fan. This is someone who was inside Joe's circle for years and claims Joe ran his operation like a full-blown mob boss. And the wildest part? The attempted hit on 50 might not even be the worst thing in this whole case. Here's where it gets really disturbing. Dixon claims Fat Joe was involved in inappropriate relations with underage girls and even paid for a procedure for a 15-year-old girl.
When I was with him, he would go, "We everywhere, you never there." And it's because I was already in the arenas. So what would I be doing back in the nightclub?
Yeah.
At that point.
The complaint was filed in federal court in New York, and it's so graphic, it comes with a trigger warning. The document is 157 pages long and packed with serious claims. Dixon also says Joe forced him into humiliating and disturbing situations, including performances under pressure, threats, and constant surveillance. He says he was told if he didn't comply, he'd get left behind in foreign countries. Even crazier, he claims he was pushed into over 4,000 acts just to keep his spot in Joe's so-called enterprise. One of the most alarming parts of the lawsuit, it's where Dixon accuses Fat Joe of being involved with young females who, at the time, were not legal adults. Dixon even says he personally saw Joe with girls who were just 15 and 16 years old. The filing lists 3 individuals under the name Jane Doe, and their stories are deeply unsettling. One of them, according to the lawsuit, was a 16-year-old girl from New York of Dominican background. Dixon claims she was given money, clothes, and had her phone bill paid in return for allegedly spending time with Joe in ways that cross serious lines. Then there's Jane Doe number 2, described as a white female who wasn't a U.S. citizen. Dixon says she met Fat Joe after a concert overseas when she was 15. He claims Joe then flew her to New York and Miami on multiple occasions. These weren't just casual visits either. Dixon paints a picture of repeated trips under concerning circumstances. But it gets even more disturbing. Dixon claims that due to her young age and undeveloped appearance, Fat Joe paid for her to undergo cosmetic enhancement. That allegation alone has people shocked. As for Jane Doe 3, Dixon says she was a Latina girl who met Joe when she was 15, just about to turn 16. According to him, Joe caught feelings for her hard, to the point where he even thought about leaving his wife. The lawsuit says Joe took care of all her expenses, brought her along on tour, and even set her up in a condo in Florida, just blocks from the house he shared with his wife. At the time, Joe was said to be in his late 30s. To support these claims, Dixon reportedly submitted photos of Jane Doe 3 posing with her high school friends, claiming they were taken while Joe was actively transporting her across state lines. So does this mean Fat Joe is actually facing RICO charges? Here's what's real. This is a civil RICO lawsuit. That means it wasn't filed by the government. It was filed by a private person, but it still falls under the same law originally made to target organized crime like the mafia. To win a civil RICO case, you gotta show there was an enterprise, a group of people working together, not just one person acting alone. And that's what Dixon is pushing. He says Fat Joe ran a full-blown criminal operation with others, and he names 2 of them, Pete, Pistol Pete Torres, and Richard Rich Blair. According to Dixon, these 2 were key players in the alleged crew. But that's not all. Dixon also has to prove they were involved in a consistent pattern of shady, illegal actions, not just one-time things. That's what makes this so serious. To win a RICO case, civil or criminal, the plaintiff has to prove multiple crimes were committed over time, not just some one-off mistake. We're talking fraud, intimidation, illegal deals, extortion, you name it. What makes RICO cases heavy is that they paint the picture of a whole system, not just a single bad decision. It suggests an organized setup that operated like a machine, which is why that word alone, RICO, gets people and the feds real alert. Even when it's a civil case, dropping RICO in a lawsuit hits hard. And let's be real, the feds love when someone close to the operation suddenly turns into a witness, especially someone who claims they were there through everything. And in today's hip-hop world, RICO cases ain't rare. From YSL to Casanova to the heat on Diddy, it's clear law enforcement is locked in on the industry. So if this kind of criminal structure really existed around Fat Joe for over a decade, folks are now asking the obvious. Why did Terrence Todd Dixon stay quiet all this time? 50 Cent already called it a stick-up and brushed it off. But what made Dixon finally speak up after years of silence? Dixon says it was all about fear. He claims he didn't stay silent for nothing. He says it was fear for his career and even his life. According to him, when he tried to walk away, threats were made. And Joe? He allegedly kept Dixon close, not out of loyalty, but because Dixon knew too much. Most people outside the music game might not know the name Terrence Dixon, but for 16 years, he was right there, Joe's hype man, standing side by side on tour after tour. Now he's flipping the whole story and accusing Joe of running things through fear, pressure, and control. And now people are asking, is this about getting justice or just getting back? Because the split between Dixon and Fat Joe wasn't caused by just one falling out. Dixon says it was years of being used, shortchanged, and slowly pushed out once he stopped playing along with the program. And here's where it goes next level. Dixon even pulled Roc Nation into this lawsuit, claiming they helped Fat Joe maintain the alleged criminal operation. In the court papers, he describes Roc Nation as a strategic enabler, saying they either knew or purposely looked the other way while Joe did what he did. Dixon claims he was a victim in all of it, saying he was forced into labor, tricked financially, threatened when he resisted, and pulled into trafficking schemes he never agreed to. But let's talk about this timing. It's got everybody raising eyebrows. Why now? Fat Joe's been keeping low. His name hasn't really been in the mix lately. But suddenly, when the spotlight's on other big names in hip-hop, like Diddy and others, this lawsuit drops. People are wondering, is Todd Dixon trying to slide in for a payout while the feds are circling the culture? Or is he finally telling the truth after years of silence? And let's not forget, this might just be the first domino. We're talking about a 157-page RICO lawsuit stacked with serious claims, including accusations that are way beyond music. Meanwhile, 50 Cent's over here, brushing it off like it's nothing, calling it a setup, and showing sympathy for Joe. But that's what's got folks confused. We've all seen how hard 50 went at Diddy. He's already filming a doc about those allegations, and nothing's even been proven yet. He even dragged Jay-Z into it, throwing shots and trolling about that wild Kid Cudi car explosion story. And now, with Fat Joe being sued and Roc Nation being named in the lawsuit, 50's suddenly playing cool? Where's that same energy? Some fans think 50's just playing the long game, moving in silence like a chess master. They're saying maybe he's not defending Joe. Maybe he's just protecting himself. And the real question is, how much does 50 really know? Because if what Dixon's saying is true, if Fat Joe really tried to take him out, and the rest of this lawsuit stands in court, then this thing's just getting started. We're talking about RICO wars in hip-hop. And now some insiders are even whispering that the feds could start eyeing 50 next. You already know. We'll keep watching this one real close. If you're locked in with us, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a drop. Let us know in the comments what you think. Is 50 being loyal or just keeping quiet to stay safe? Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.